What's up, y'all? I'm out here at the range, as you can see behind me, on what's turned out to be a swampy day out here. Started out real nice, didn't have a lot of sun, but it was really wet from a bunch of rain the past few days. Now that this sun's out, it feels like a vegetable steamer out here. But I'm on the home stretch now with just one more test on the agenda, and it should be some really good 380 ACP. So the jelly contraption's got one more test left in it for today. We got a couple of chronos and 2 blocks of gel. Quite a few tracks in these blocks, but they're mostly on the back side. So as you can see, I left us a nice clear alley right there. Shouldn't have any problem keeping these in here. I don't think we're gonna need anything past this first block anyway. As you can see, of course, I've got my heavy clothing barrier with a layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And for this one here, we're doing a little head-to-head with a couple of solid copper fluted 380 rounds. So the first one I got here, and really the main purpose of this video, is the G9 Defense. I haven't tested this yet. I've had several people ask me to check these out in different calibers. I really don't understand why. I've already mentioned this in my 9mm video that y'all probably seen before this. There's not much different. I mean, there is differences in the design on these projectiles, but a fluted solid copper round is a fluted solid copper round at the end of the day. They're all relying on that same basic mechanism of the disruption from those fluted solid copper rounds. And I figure we might as well test that theory and see if there's much difference, if any at all, by using another tried and true solid copper fluted round. You got the Underwood Xtreme Defender here. Now, this is the 68 grain. If I didn't mention, this G9 is a 70 grain. So 70 grain on the G9, 68 on the Xtreme Defender. So virtually the same weight. But then when you look at the velocity, there's quite a difference right there. This G9 is saying 1,120 feet per second. The Xtreme Defender from Underwood is saying 1,300 feet per second. So that's a big difference right there for no more than 2 grains weight difference on the projectile. But here's a look at both your cartridges. The G9 here, no plating on the case there. Underwood here's got that nickel plated case. The projectile is where you see the big difference. You can see on that G9 you've got 3 little flutes or scallops, whatever you want to call them, and then on the XD over there on the left you've got 4 of them. So definitely a different design on that projectile, but again, for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. You've got a fluted solid copper round. Now, I'm not sure what they're getting those velocities out of as far as test barrel. I forgot to check that out, but what I'm using here today, as you can see, is my Smith Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 with a 2 3/4 inch barrel. But that's more than enough rambling on about these things. Again, I think we're going to see very similar performance in the gel, but let's get this stuff all set up and find out. All right, let's see what kind of velocities we're working with out of the shorty here. I'm going to do a 5-round average from both of these. We'll start with this G9 first. If y'all aren't familiar with my lab radar, like I always explain to you, you're going to get multiple readings from it. The large number is at the muzzle, and then you've got 5 across the bottom. The first one there is set for 3 yards, which is roughly where the gel is here at 10 feet. And then I've got them set for 10, 15, 25, and 50 yards. Now remember, the box on this G9 is saying 1120. It didn't have any kind of test barrel listed, so I don't expect to see that here. It'd be nice, but I just really don't expect it. $1,086, $1,061, $1,098, $1,050, and 1,060, so definitely not the 1120. Let's check out the average. All right, so our 5-round average on the G9 was 1,071 feet per second. We had an extreme spread of 48 and a 20.1 standard deviation. So 1,071. I mean, one thing we don't have to worry about is getting expansion, since these aren't expanders. So there's no doubt it's going to do a good job in the gel. I definitely like to see more velocity and energy in that, but it is what it is with a 380. This is standard pressure too, if I didn't mention that. So standard pressure, you just get what you get. Let's get it reset and see what the XD does. All right, let's see what these Underwoods do. Remember now, the box on this is saying 1,300, but again, I don't know what a test barrel that is. I doubt we see that. 1177, 1161, 1189, 1200, and 1226. So started speeding up there towards the end. Definitely faster than that G9. Let's check out the average. All right, so a pretty big difference right here just to be 2 grains lighter on the projectile. This time we had a 5-round average of 1,191 feet per second. Extreme spread was 64 with a 24.4 standard deviation. So 1191 still a far cry from that 1,300, but if you remember out the G9, it was 1,071. So you talking about 120 feet per second faster from that Underwood, even though it's only 2 grains lighter. That's a big difference right there. So again, I mean, I don't know why you would purposely go seeking out this G9. I mean, unless something really drastic happens as far as the difference in the gel, I guess I'll hold my opinion until then, but I can just pretty much tell you already, there's going to be very little difference in the gel. But I have been wrong before. Let's get all this stuff reset, and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's 3 flutes versus 4. The Underwood is bringing more jelly time. We'll put 1 of each into the gel, starting with this G9 first. I think we're going to see very, very similar performance right here. I'll be curious to see if that extra velocity from the Underwood makes a difference. All right, that should have been a nice one. Let me go see what I got. All right, good looking performance from that one right there. Let's see what this Underwood does. I expect it to do about the same. All right, should have been another good one. Let's go check these out. All right, let's check these things out down here. A little bit messy from this view just because this gel's so clear. You can see all the background tracks real easy, but everything is separated and nothing really surprising down here. Pretty much what I expected to see. Very nice performance from both of these. Y'all know a lot of times I talk about these external fluted rounds in other calibers. It's not my first choice. I'd rather have a nice lead expander, but when it comes to 380, you know, even on my little top 380 video I did a while back, in my opinion, this is one of the better choices, this particular style. Now, no particular brand, but this style, this solid fluted copper projectile, I think is one of the best choices to run in a 380. So again, both of these did a great job and pretty much what I expected to see, and they look nearly identical. Now, from this view, the disruption looks a little bit different, but I'll show you from another angle. Basically, this one right here, this is the one from the G9. As you can see, it comes in here, you got some nice disruption there, pretty much all the way through its track, travels to right at 15, maybe a little bit short of 15 inches, but very, very nice penetration, and obviously no kind of expansion or deformation or anything. And then down below it, this one here, that is the Underwood Xtreme Defender. Same story here, comes in here, very nice disruption again, all the way through its travel. These things look absolutely identical. I'll show you the different angles. Keeps on trucking again. This one, I would say, is about 1/4 of an inch short of that G9. Now, whether that has anything to do with that projectile design or not, I would personally say no, and that's just chance there. You could probably get 1/4 of an inch further or less from either one of those. Now, one thing you will notice when I bring you in closer here, from this view, it looks like this G9's got a lot more disruption, which is not the case. You're looking at kind of the flat side, and then from above, you'll see that's kind of the skinny side, but when you get to the Underwood, it's backwards. This is kind of the skinny side, and then from above, you'll see the big flat side. But as far as the penetration on them, the one on the top here from the G9, a little bit shorter than what I thought. It's exactly 14.5 inches, but still absolutely beautiful penetration there. And then the one down on the bottom from the Underwood Xtreme Defender, that one is actually 14.25 inches. So sure enough, 1/4 of an inch less from that Underwood for whatever reason. And then here's your close look. Again, this one in the front on the top, that's the G9. You can see it. I'm trying to give you some different angles. And then this is the Underwood. Now, like I say, if you look at this way, the Underwood looks smaller, but I'll give you some above views here in a second. There's your Underwood again, keeps on going. There's your projectile, and then there's your G9. If we follow that one back, you can see there. Very nice performance from both of these. And then from the top view here, you can see what I was saying. This is the G9, down there is the Underwood. You can see you get the big flat disruption area. from this view. It's just a matter of how you look at them, but I can tell you right now, here in person, they are exactly the same. They look exactly the same in this gel. All right, let's check out these projectiles. Once again, with these solid copper rounds, nothing really to ooh and ah about, no big expansion or fancy lead mushrooms or anything like that. They just simply do their job. So as you can see here, no kind of deformation or anything, a little bit different look there at the base. As you can see, again, 3 flutes on the G9 and 4 on this one here, but no kind of deformation again, no kind of expansion, obviously, or anything. But let's get some measurements on them anyway and make sure we got what we're supposed to be getting. So as far as weight, this one here, the G9, is supposed to be 70, and sure enough, it's 70.0 grains. So right on the money there. The XD Underwood here is supposed to be 68. And once again, 68.0 grains. So both of these things are right on where they're supposed to be. And then for the size, I'll just get a base and a length. We'll start with this G9. You got 352 with a length of 499. And then this Underwood here, you got 352 with a length of 510. So nearly identical in the sizes. And there you go, y'all, a little head-to-head battle between a couple of 380 ACP copper fluted rounds. G9 Defense and Underwood Xtreme Defender. Really, I think this is another one of those cases where there's not a loser here at all. Both of these did a fantastic job. Now, numbers alone, this one right here edges it out just a little bit as far as energy. So I guess if you're a numbers guy like y'all know I am, the Underwood has to be called the winner as far as I'm concerned. But again, there is absolutely no loser here. I think for me, if I was running one of these rounds, the deciding factor would come down to whichever one I could get the cheapest. All right, y'all, I'm gonna call it right there for another couple of good 380 rounds, and that's gonna wrap up another day of testing. Again, I think you got 2 very nice performances right here from these rounds, but I still stick by my opinion after seeing this especially, that there's really no difference here. There's no difference in the design. Well, there's a difference in the design, but that design difference doesn't make a difference as far as real world performance. 3 flutes, 4 flutes, round cuts, sharp cuts, I don't think any of that matters. I think these solid copper fluted rounds just do what they do just based on pure disruption. So again, like I said, if I was going to choose from one of these, it would be whichever one I could get the cheapest. If they were both the same, it would be the Underwood, just because math alone shows it edges out this G9 just a tiny bit. But let me know down in the comments what y'all think about it. Those of y'all especially that run one of these rounds, did you see much of any difference right here? Would you care either way which one of these you ran? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. If you did enjoy the video, take a second and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you've got those notifications on so you get notified when I upload stuff. Take a quick second if you would and check out those affiliate links in the video description. Anything you pick up after checking those links out, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really appreciate that. Again, a big thanks to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for showing the support that y'all do. I got some really interesting tests done out here today, and I've got a lot more planned, so stay on the lookout. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see y'all soon.